Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another rules breakdown. This time we're going to be looking at Macho Women with Guns, which came out from BTRC in 1988. Now, even though this is a bit of a comedy game, it does have a sensible set of rules attached to it, more so than many role-playing games we've covered in the past. So while this video shouldn't be the longest, it will be a full rules breakdown. Now, as usual, I want a character, and there's none provided in the rulebook, and I don't have any adventures. So I searched online, and I found this one on darkshire.net. Now, this looks to be a Macho Women Guns 2nd edition character, so it has some extra stuff on it. But that doesn't matter, because it's got the important things. We've got the stats here, we've got the skills here, and we can work things out from there. Anyway, let's have a look at the rules of Macho Women with Guns. And so skills. Well, skills are based on a matter of adding one of your stats to the skill. So if we look up this seduce creature, we look on page 3, we can see seduce creature is looks based. So we are rolling 3d6 and trying to get less than looks. Seduce creature +1, so we are trying to get under a 13. So we roll 3d6, we roll a 9, so we succeed. As simple as that. Now, if we look back at the rules a second, we can see that certain skills, like the run in high heels here, has different modifiers. So if you're moving great distances, then your skill is penalised down. And on the next page, we have modifiers for the seduce skill. If there's not enough time, -3, adequate time +0, more than enough time +3. So depending on how time restricted you are when you're seducing someone, you get modifiers up or down to your skill. But also we've got success margins here. So we'll say it was a normal one. So we got 9, we need to get under 13, so we got 4. So we got a success by 4. Which is a medium favour we can get. Successful use of the skill will allow one favour from a susceptible creature, the magnitude of which depends on how the roll was made by. And we get a medium favour in this one. And other skills have different amounts, different modifiers, all the ones are slightly different. So you need to look them up. It also tells you which of the attributes they're related to. And so initiative. Well, initiative is dealt with on page 4. Basically, it works in dexterity order. So this character's got dexterity of 15, so it goes after people with 16 or higher, before ones with 14 or lower. But in the event of a tie, if we look back, we can see it's dependent on action. So person using a little gun axe first, person using a big gun axe, person using hand-to-hand attack axe, and then a person moving axe. So if people are tied on their dexterity, it depends what they're doing. Now, combat's dealt with on page 4, and it's an ordinary skill roll, so you're rolling 3d6 against your dexterity, because most combat skills are dexterity, plus whatever relevant skills. Shoot big guns, shoot little guns, beat things with other things. So all of those except the shoot little guns are dexterity, but the little guns is dexterity +1 for this character. But you have different modifiers. So with the little guns, for every 2 hexes of range, the modifier goes down, so things get harder to do. For big guns, every 4 hexes of range. For all guns, if you're taking a turn to range, then your modifier goes up. Each hex that you moved in the turn goes down by -1, so as you move around it becomes harder. Each 2 hexes the opponent moved, it becomes harder to hit them. If you're firing from the hip, if you're firing 5 shots in a burst, every 5 you get -1. If you are hitting things, each hex that you move that turn. Throwing things, every hex of range. But all attacks also get whether the target is dodging, whether you are dodging. Now your dodging is based on your cavort about plus dex, so this character just gets 15. But it's a modifier of whether the target is dodging, they get a dexterity modifier of dex divided by 4. So 15 goes down, rounding down to 3. So it'd be a -3 to your hit. If you are dodging, you get your dexterity divided by 2. So 15 rounding down gets 7. So you get a -7 if you're dodging. So there's a massive disadvantage to attacking other people while you're dodging. You should basically be just standing there and shooting. Now we've also got modifiers here for multiple targets. Every extra attack you take, you get a -3. Call shots, if you're trying to hit a particular body place, you get a -3. Shotguns get a +2 to hit, or may attack each target in a single hex once per shot fired. We've got reloading, we've got flamethrowers, and we've got macho attacks. Now, instead of an ordinary attack, you can use your macho. And you get various modifiers for various cool things you're doing. So if you're firing, using a big gun, using a flamethrower, etc., etc., you get to make the macho roll. And how much you succeed or fail becomes the modifier to the opponent. So if you succeed, their target number goes up. If you fail, their target number goes down. And they need to make a macho roll as well. And based on these modifiers, if they fail, they are stunned until at least the next time they act. At the start of the next round, they get to make another unmodified macho roll to see whether they can act, or they remain stunned, or until they are damaged. When they're attacked, they then get to go again. So you can stun people by being darn cool, by shooting from the hip, from using a massive gun, from not wearing armor. There's lots and lots of modifiers there which make the opponent's roll far more difficult. Damage is dealt with on page 6, and it's dependent on two things: the type of weapon you're using and where you hit the opponent. Because you see, if you hit somebody in the head, you're doing d6 damage. If you hit somebody in the torso, you're doing a d4. If you hit them in the arms or legs, you're doing d3 damage. But the other part of it is based on the weapon. So on page 7, we've got a list of weapons. The largest pistol you can be carrying is a Desert Eagle, which does 3. So, first of all, we determine where we've hit somebody. So we're rolling 3d6, throwing, and we get 9. So we've hit them in the upper torso. So we'll be doing a d4 damage. With the Desert Eagle, that's 3d4. However, you can also fire bursts from different weapons. We can see the Desert Eagle has a rate of fire of 2. Now that means that if you're firing 2 bullets, you're going through that from your clip. But it's dependent on how well you rolled on your to hit. If you succeeded by 2, you would hit with both bullets, and thereby be doing double the damage. 3 points of damage for each bullet. You'd be doing 6. But we've got things like the Mach 10 there, which does 2 points of damage but has a rate of fire of 20. So, depending on whether the rate of fire was higher, or whether your success was higher, if you only succeeded by 5 points, for example, then you would only be doing 2 sets of dice. So 10 dice damage, hitting them in the torso, be 10d4 damage. But for this one, we shall just say it's one shot. So we're going to be doing 3d4 damage. Oh, armor first. As we can see, armor has different ratings. If you're wearing tight leather armor, covers the full torso. Breastplate, guess where it hits, protects. Bulletproof vests, heavy bulletproof vests. And that takes off the number of dice you're rolling. So, a real heavy bulletproof, the best version, takes off 6 to the torso. So your torso actually becomes very heavily armored. You can also get a heavy helmet, which will protect you from 4 dice. So unless somebody's firing a massive burst or a huge weapon against you, you're going to be probably removing all their dice of damage. But for lighter armors, you'll be losing a dice or 2. But for this occasion, we'll just say it's the 3d4. So we'll throw 3d4, and we get a very good roll. We get 11 points of damage. And health. Well, health is dealt with on page 1. How much punishment your character can take before expiring a macho pile and becoming Monster Chow TM. Damage is subtracted from health. If a character's health goes to 0 because of lethal attacks, they are dead. If it goes to 0 because of non-lethal attacks, they are unconscious. If the total of lethal and non-lethal damage drops character to 0, they are unconscious but not dead until the lethal damage alone would kill the character. So we look at our character, they have 14 health, they took 11, so they're still up and operating, but they've taken 11 damage. And the section continues. Non-lethal damage is recovered at 1 point in a number of hours equal to the remaining damage of the character. Lethal damage is recovered in a similar number of days. So, 11 points of lethal damage takes you 11 days to recover to 10 points, 10 days, and then down and down and down until the last point only takes a single day to heal. And so, character advancement. Well, this is first edition Macho Women with Guns, and it's not that kind of game. It was supposed to be a fun game to play, so there was no character advancement. But you can see how it was intended to be, how you can easily build it in. Because when you're creating your character, you have costs for everything. You have a certain amount of starting character points which you spend, and obviously if you've got more character points, you'll be able to enhance things. So, the character we're looking at, they've got looks of 12, which cost them 5 points. So, looks of 12 cost 5, 13 cost 10. So, if you spend 5 character points you get during adventures, you can increase your looks. And likewise, we've got things like skills. So, she's got shoot big guns at the moment at 0, which costs 3 points. If she wants to buy it up to 1, she needs to spend 5 points. So, it's an extra 2 character points to enhance that up. And that's how it would work. You would spend them points to increase your different skills, to increase your attributes, and possibly, if the Games Master allowed, to buy off some of your disadvantages if you want to get rid of them. But I think the Games Master should probably leave those in place. So, that was Macho Women with Guns, first edition. It's not much of a game. There's only a few pages, but they kind of make sense. There's a lot built in there, which a lot of role-playing games of the era didn't bother with. I am very, very impressed that for a fun few-page game, that there's a full rule system in there. And it's incredibly flexible. You can do a lot with it. So, it's fun, it works, it has everything in there. I can understand why they've taken it onto second edition and enhanced it by adding a whole load more pages. And hopefully we'll get a chance to look at that at some time in the future. But anyway, as usual, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough. So thank you very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves. And I'll catch you later. Bye now.